This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and today we're in Franktown, Colorado. I'm here with Greg Jameson. For over 30 years, he has been a technical contractor serving the public, many aspects. Let's begin a little bit. I mean, quite honestly, technical contractor, that's one thing, but you, throughout the years, you have developed quite a few titles. Everything from author to speaker, entrepreneur, webmaster, e-marketeer. Let's go back a little bit. Start off how this all began 30 years ago. What was your first passion?
Well, I actually had this rare opportunity back in high school where I was taking a programming class on BASIC, and at the high school they had one of these old teletype machines with a paper tape that fed through it, and I got kind of interested in that. My father actually was working at Colorado State University, and he had a research project where he actually purchased a portable teletype machine with a coupler modem. And he brought it home, and I figured out that I could use that to dial into the mainframe computer that I was using at school. And so I was doing home computing a decade before anyone else was.
That is amazing. I mean, so quite honestly, was this something that actually runs in your family because of your father as well?
Yeah, my father liked to play with computers too, and like I said, he was using a research project to do that. So I kind of just started doing things, and I actually, as a result of doing this kind of interactive computing before anyone else was, when I went to school, I was able to get a job because other people were like still using punch cards and so forth, and I was like, I can do interactive computing, and people thought that was pretty cool, so I got a job actually developing some software while I was in college.
So we're talking about back in mid-'70s, you're doing some software programming. Later on, obviously, you were really there when the internet began. You start delving into a website as well. Basically, are those two combinations something that you're still able to provide for folks?
Yes, I still do actually custom programming for people. When the internet started, it was mostly static pages out there, but because of my computing background, I was able to start in doing some database work on the internet very early on so that the web pages could actually be interactive depending upon how somebody hit a web page. And I've done a number of projects for some fairly significant companies doing database work.
You really probably have seen quite a bit of change in the past 20, 30 years evolving. I mean, anymore, it's not just websites that are web-based businesses that are actually selling online, but we're talking about brick and mortar companies that are making themselves more accessible to the consumer by e-commerce. Is this kind of a natural progression that you found yourself going as well?
Yeah, it really is. And you know, it's interesting that everybody today really needs a website. No one uses the phone book anymore. They want more information than that, and so everybody has to have a website. Some people need e-commerce websites. Other people need sites so that they can find out what it is that their business has to offer. But your website is critical, and if it's not driving traffic for you, it's not working.
You yourself, you have experience dealing with companies that are smaller companies that may be brick and mortar small, but also larger companies out there. Does it really matter, big or small? You pretty much are able to provide solutions, either one.
Yeah, I've been able to do work. I've got a virtual team of people that I work with, so I can actually do some things for large companies, like you said, smaller companies that, you know, I've got a lot of people that are really mom and pop shops that I have worked with and been able to create some really good solutions for those people.
I know we've actually interviewed a couple of those that you've had your hand in with their website before, and I've done a great job with. I noticed that obviously the surge of websites, like you say, everybody needing one, we also see a surge in web designers, folks that are out there able to help with them. You're kind of a unique breed because of the fact you have the programming side as well as the website. Are those two different sets of skills required?
They are, actually, and yeah, I've been fortunate because I grew up in the computer industry, so I was able to really have that technical background. There's a lot of people out there that are doing website design, and the fact is that some of the people will do website designs really cheaply. They may or may not end up good. You know, you may get what you pay for. Some people are just starting out and they do a good job, but being able to actually program a database is one thing. And then there's actually the other skill, which is the marketing skills. Right. And some web designers have internet marketing skills and some don't. So I really kind of am this interesting breed of being able to cross all three areas.
That's where I was going to lead you next, was the fact that, okay, we've got this great website set up. It looks great, not only with you, but it looks great, but the back end is powerful as well. And now we're really just in the starting blocks because we need to get eyeballs on that site. We have to have a strategy put in place, and obviously that's where you come into play with e-marketing. Share with us what you're able to help with folks as far as e-marketing goes.
Well, there's a whole bunch of things as it relates to e-marketing. And one of the things that's interesting is that most people, when they first start out, they think, if I can just get to be number one on Google, then I'm going to be successful. And what those people don't really understand is that's backwards thinking. You get to be number one on Google because you've already done all these other things correctly. Being number one on Google is kind of the payoff for having done all of these other e-marketing.
So you're putting the cart before the horse. I mean, quite honestly, Google loves activity, and so you've got to make that happen.
Yeah, and you know, I've actually had people where I put up a website for them, and within a week they have called me up and said, hey, I've done this search on Google for whatever it is I'm doing, you know, commercial flooring, and I'm not showing up. And it's like, well, there's a whole bunch of factors that go into Google showing your page. One is longevity. Your site's only been up a week. Two is, as you said, activity. You know, how are people actually responding to your website? And then a whole bunch of other things. There's over 200 variables that Google actually looks at to make sure if your site is worthy of being on page one.
Most of those things the average small business person doesn't even think about. Larger companies, they have people in place that understand all that. Large companies know what's important for the marketing. Smaller companies were learning slower. Is that really how this book came to be when you start looking at how the bigger companies run and evolve?
Yeah, the book here is Amazon's Dirty Little Secrets is the title of the book. The subtitle is what's really interesting, and that's how to use the power of others to market and sell for you. And Amazon, as we all know, is by far and away the most successful e-commerce company in the world. And if you take a look at what they've done to become successful and try to apply those things to your own business, it can make a huge difference. And one of the things that I discovered as I've been working with these hundreds of customers over the years is that the ones that have been doing a really good job are also doing many of the same things that Amazon does in terms of getting other people to recommend products for them.
I mean, it's amazing what Amazon has been able to do. I mean, they're positioned for over 2 decades. You're basically telling me that it's a lot more than just what they've done internally. Quite honestly, they're leveraging the world around them.
Yeah, they really are. You know, it's interesting. Kind of the way that it started out of leveraging the world around them was through their affiliate program, where they would get other people to sell products on, you know, the other person's website and basically drive that traffic back to Amazon, and then Amazon would give the person that sold it a piece of the action. But if you take a look at kind of everything that Amazon does, it's really all about how can we get somebody else to promote our website for us.
That is some serious leverage. Share with us what people are going to learn here in the book a little bit. Share with us the literal power, or what you call power, of what they're going to be experiencing.
Okay, so as I said, the subtitle is Using the Power of Others, and I basically use the word power as an acronym. And each letter stands for something. The P stands for plenty of traffic. O stands for offer something for free. W is win their trust. E is an engaging experience. And R is request an action.
So these are really practical steps that people can take the same way that larger companies have done, and basically figure out how to apply them in their particular format.
Yeah, so basically I break each of these down. So if we start out with just like plenty of traffic, search engine optimization, as we talked about, may not be the best thing to do right out of the gate. There are other ways to drive traffic to your website until such time that Google has blessed you enough to put you on the first page of their website. So I look at what other ways can you use to drive traffic to your website, whether it be social media, email, YouTube, and so forth.
Wonderful. Share with us a practical example, maybe something that's happened in recent times here that maybe Amazon has done and that caused some buzz out there.
Okay, well, one of the things that Amazon is an absolute master at is getting in the news. They're always in the press, and certainly they've got a big PR department. They're sending out press releases and so forth. But last year, the day before what's called Cyber Monday, they had a segment on 60 Minutes where they were talking about being able to deliver products via drone. Now, Jeff Bezos, right in the interview, said this is years away, but it didn't make any difference that it was years away. The next day was Cyber Monday, and their sales skyrocketed because of all this free exposure that they got.
That is amazing. You basically went on to do something the same way just to kind of show the power of all that. Share with me.
Yeah, so it was kind of fun. I've got this friend, his name's Joel Com, and he had actually purchased a drone for himself, and I had this thought, and I had to call Joel up, and I said, Joel, we've got to do this video where I'm having Amazon deliver my book to you via drone. And so we put that together, and it turned out it was a lot of fun, and it got a lot of information out there on the internet, on the social media, a lot of shares.
And it proves a point at the same time, because quite honestly, what you're basically saying is no different than this interview right now, where you're able to educate folks using the power of television. You're saying basically small companies can do the same thing. They just have to be led down that road, and obviously that's what some of the book is all about.
Yeah, you just need to think creatively. The question that I pose in the book is, what would Jeff do? And if Jeff Bezos would do it, it's probably a good thing for you to do for your business as well.
Excellent. Viewers, take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is his website. First of all, on the website, you're going to see some of the technical service that he can provide for you, be it programming or that of website design. But quite honestly, e-commerce, obviously getting some activity onto that website and making sure that it's a company that is going to be successful. I mean, his mission is to make your company successful on the internet. And so it takes many different facets to do that. And that's what he's been doing for over 30 years of experience. What began as a strictly software, somebody way ahead of his game, is still keeping ahead of the trend, if you will, when it comes to internet design. Speaking of the book, obviously a lot of people are able to tap into the knowledge that you have. Another way they can do that is through your public speaking. Share with me some of the topics of seminars that you've been able to provide for folks.
Well, one of the things that I've actually done is I've broken down a lot of the things in the book into specific things that somebody might be interested in. So I can certainly talk about the general concept of the book as one of the things that I do in public speaking. But if somebody is interested specifically, say, in YouTube or Facebook or Pinterest, any of those types of things, I can do complete presentations on those and have done those for both companies and for the general public.
Any plans in the future of putting some of that knowledge on videotape to make it accessible for folks?
I've actually already been working on that. There is a whole series of information products that are supplemental training to the book. So you can, after you buy the book, there's actually a QR code in there, as well as a website at the back of the book. You can go there and you have the opportunity to get involved with some of this other supplemental training, whether it be individual things like that or a more in-depth program about the entire Power Plus formula.
Wonderful. So we're talking about the book. We'll definitely get you started there, but you've got an optional supplement. You start talking about reaching out through video as well as the web. Viewers, take a look at the bottom of the screen there again. His contact information is right there. You can contact him via the office phone there and basically set up a consultation. That is the best way to find out what it is that maybe he can provide solutions for you. And obviously, if you've got anything anymore, like he said, you have to have a website. His mission is to make your company successful on the internet. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.